Another 4-game sample size and another 1-3 record for our final team here. The Washington State Cougars. Nick Rolovich, year one. Ooh, buddy. Like it's another situation where I feel tough for all those coaches that had to go through that. But in Pullman, they really struggled. We had Jaden DeLara was our starting quarterback. He started as a freshman, played like a freshman. Sometimes I guess there were some moments that you could hold on to that would make him potentially be the starter, but he's going to have some competition. Tom's favorite quarterback in college football history, Jarrett Garantano, showing up to push Jaden DeLara, who I don't know exactly what the suspension status is or isn't after Jaden DeLara got hit with a DUI a couple months ago or several weeks ago, but difficult to find exactly out what was going to be going on with his status. But Jarrett Garantano arrives from Tennessee. You've got a former 4-star player in Cameron Cooper also. So what happens at that quarterback position within the flow of that offense for Rolovich? That's going to be something to keep an eye on. You got to expect better things from the defense. Like I'm not expecting Washington State to be dominant defensively, but I am also looking at these teams that had either new coordinator, new coach changes, and this delayed start in the Pac-12, the will we play, won't we play, the fact that you were out of sorts, and, even within this Washington State team, you had within that locker room some issues going into the season. So I am very much going back and calling this year one again for Nick Rolovich. What's exciting or interesting to y'all looking at the Cougars for spring 2021?
I have no idea if Jaden DeLora is good or not. Like there were times last year when I was watching and I was like, okay, I see potential. I see something. And then there were times where it's like, what? There's nobody better on this roster. Like you got to be kidding me. You can't find somebody else to throw out there. So I think that is going to be the most interesting thing to me this spring, because I do think that having an actual off season for Nick Rolovich to come in, and it's like you could say that the air raid and the kind of run and shoot that Rolovich ran at Hawaii and he's bringing there are cousins, but they're not the exact same. There are changes that need to be made. So having like that kind of offseason to implement that, I think will improve things offensively and help for all quarterbacks. And then you bring in the Garantano aspect of him transferring in. So there is a competition. So I'm also interested in seeing how Garantano does in this offense compared to what he was allowed to do in the Tennessee offense, because maybe we get an idea of if we were just being mean to Jarrett Garantano or he was just doing the best he could in the situation that he was given. So that is something I'm really looking forward to this spring, because I do think that this is a team that it wasn't in a bad place when Mike Leach left. There was enough there where I think that you could still be a bowl team and you could still be an exciting offensive team. And I think that last year, in a similar situation with what we're going to be talking about throughout this entire conference, it's hard to read too deep into anything we saw given the circumstances that everybody was playing with. So I do expect the Wazoo will be better this year. It's just defensively, they've never been all that sound except for like 1 year with Alex Grinch, and then he left to go to Oklahoma and things kind of went backward a little bit. So can the defense be good enough for this team to win if the offense struggles, or are we going to be a situation kind of like when Rolovich was at Hawaii where it's going to be like, all right, we're going to have to win games 49-42, which should be fine with me. I'll be happy staying up to 2 a.m. watching them.
But you got to be elite on offense in order to do that, and that's what they weren't last year. But I do think, again, to reiterate what you guys have said, Rolovich is my guy, by the way. So I'll be rooting for him. It's going to take it to a horrible offseason, and I don't know exactly what you're working with here either. I will say that just culturally, going from Mike Leach to Nick Rolovich it's a shift. I mean, and Mike Leach started to hint at that his last year. They were talking about some of the players and maybe got out at the right time, and you saw some player, issues there. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes, but I think it'll take a little bit of time for them all to get acclimated to each other and to get everybody's systems in place. But the defense has been atrocious.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I think Delores on the spring roster, but I haven't seen any kind of announcement as to whether he's actually eligible to play this spring following the DUI arrest. I was sort of a Jarrett Garantano truther a little bit in that I thought he was merely okay, not terrible. Like a lot of people thought he was just really, really bad. I thought Tennessee put him in some horrendous spots, like just let's run it first and second down. Oh crap, we're not that good on the offense, so now it's 3rd and 8. Hey, bail us out again, right? Like every freaking time. Kind of a theme there with these defensive head coaches in college football. I think they're going to be fine on offense for the most part. Defensively, one thing I was wrong about last year was I really thought offenses would struggle more than defenses would without having practice, because I do think that defense is a little more of like a collective individual effort, whereas offense is a little bit more of a team game, right? It's a little more rhythm based. Defense is a little more react. But I had some coaches who coach defense tell me that, like, they're like, I get what you're saying, but for us, what we found was it was hard to get those actual physical reps for our guys with all the COVID stuff. And like the reaction is something you have to rep quite a bit too. And so I think, if you're trying to install a new defense, you're not really able to rep it like that and rep it over Zoom. I think what we saw is like defenses might have been actually more impacted by this than offenses were.
A step slow, and
Yeah.
it's not like actual speed. It is like mental processing type stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on it.